This Aston Martin didn't win any races. The gearbox broke down after 4 hours during the 1963 Le Mans, but it remains one of the world's most sought-after cars. It's the only one of its kind, and it survived mostly intact. It sold for $21.455 million at a Sotheby's auction in 2018. The 1935 Duesenberg SSJ that fetched $22 million at auction in 2018 belonged to actor Gary Cooper. Certainly that added a 0 or 2 to this beast of a car, but the main draw is the road monster itself. The Duesenberg is a luxury car introduced just before the Great Depression, its 5,000-pound frame barely hiding a massive straight-8 engine that could put out 400 horsepower in its supercharged SSJ model and hit 60 miles per hour in less than 8 seconds.
I have ever driven.
The Jaguar D-Type is just one of the coolest race cars ever made. And it's blisteringly fast, too. The 1955 D-Type that sold at auction in 2016 for $21.78 million, averaged 104.47 miles per hour on the 1955 Le Mans and hit 156.868 miles per hour on the Mulsanne Straight. The D-Type's greatest hour came during the 1957 Le Mans, where it took the first, second, third, fourth and sixth spots in the 55-car race. British entrepreneur and engineer David Brown's dream to win the Le Mans began in 1949, 3 years after buying the struggling Aston Martin company for £30,000. Brown realized that dream a decade later when his Aston Martin DBR1 won the 1959 Le Mans. While the exact car that sold at auction in 2017 for a record-setting $22.5 million was not the car that won this race, it was the first of 5 DBR1s ever made. Plus it won the 1959 Nürburgring. Ferrari engineer Mauro Ferrari designed 3 of these 275 GTB Competizione Speciale cars as successors to the GTO. The 275 GTB/C variations were designed with a super lightweight aluminum bodywork for the 1965 Le Mans. Out of its original planned production line of 25, only 10 of these spiders were ever made due to lack of demand. But a man named Eddie Smith thought it was one of the coolest cars in the world. In 1968 he purchased a 275 GTB Nard Spider for between $8,000 and $14,500 and refused to sell it, even to Steve McQueen after the actor crashed his own Nard Spider according to Car and Driver. Eddie Smith passed away in 2007, leaving the car to his son, Eddie Jr. He put it up for auction in 2013, where it fetched $25 million at auction, $27.5 million with fees. He gave the proceeds away to charity. The MM in the Ferrari 290mm stands for the Mille Miglia, which it was designed for and won in 1956. Only 4 were made, 3 still exist. When Sotheby's put one of them up for sale in 2015, it sold for $28 million. Another 290mm sold for $22 million in 2018. The Mercedes-Benz W196 Formula One car competed in 2 World Championship races and won both, back-to-back, in 1954 and 1955. This was the car that reinstituted Mercedes-Benz in the Ferrari and Maserati-dominated racing world, although it was a short-lived reign. During the 1955 24 Hours Le Mans, Pierre Leveg's W196 crashed into another vehicle and into a pole, with debris flying into the stands, killing 83 spectators. It was the deadliest crash in motorsport history. Mercedes-Benz withdrew from competitive racing for 29 years, until 1994. The car sold at Bonhams for $29.6 million in 2013. The 335S finished second in the 1957 Le Mans, but its reputation was tarnished. During the race, another 335S's tire exploded, and the race car veered off the road and killed 10 spectators, including 5 children. Driver Alfonso de Portago and his navigator were also killed in the crash. Only 4 of these cars were ever made, contributing to the stratospheric price tag. The Ferrari 250 GTO is the holy grail of car collectors. Only 36 were ever built, and this particular legendary motor car is worth more than Kanye and Kim Kardashian's house. It smashed car auction sales records by selling for $48.405 million in 2018, or $10 million more than the last record holder, another GTO, which had sold for $38.115 million in 2014.